All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WBEJ's presentation of the Coach Shawn Witten Show. I'm Stacy Street along with my partner Tony Briggs and Shawn Witten, the head football coach for your Elizabethton Cyclones. Coach Witten, first show of the season here. As is always tradition now, even with the schedule change, we got the Science Hill Hilltoppers tonight over in Johnson City, back on the campus of Science Hill High School. As we begin tonight's show, let's talk a little bit. You broke fall camp last week. This week has been preparation for Science Hill. Tell our listeners a little bit about what you see from this Cyclone team so far.
Well, first, the most important thing is we come in with great senior leadership. We got 19 seniors, 18 out of 19 have been in our program for 4 years. They've persevered, they've been resilient. We've had one new guy that's moved into our school area, and he's making a significant at fullback and H-back, and that's Mason Hall. But we feel like we've got strong senior leaderships. That's been really important in the 4A schedule. The last 7 or 8 seasons is a team that's had really good seniors has been able to kind of have a really good season. And so, with those guys, right off the bat, it really just gives us, we've got seniors on the offensive line, we've got seniors on the defensive line, we got seniors at the skill positions. So I just think right there, the leadership and our work ethic has been first class.
We talked a little bit week before last at the pancake breakfast a little bit, and you said something that I've thought about ever since you told me, that this may be the hardest working group that you've ever had. Tell our listeners a little bit of what you mean by that.
Well, I mean, I think each off season, things are different. Just the way you want to go to work, the things you need to change, different things we need to do. But with this group, it's been so resilient. We when they were young, we won. Last year we struggled a little bit. Even though we had some guys injured, in and out of the season, we got off to a slow start. But the messages still were heard. Our guys fought to the finish, and even that. We still were so close. But I think you learn by a lot of different ways. You learn by shared experiences, and I think last year taught us a lot. That you can go back to things that really went well, things that didn't go well, and so this group, we faced it head on. The things that we needed to do to change in our off-season program, the things that we needed to do to after-school program and the character program that we instill in these guys. And I think these guys have bought into it, and then. Our guys have worked extremely hard, throughout the years. Have we worked any different from that aspect? No. It's just more of the mental approach, the things that we needed to do from a maturity standpoint, and then ultimately the things that we needed to do to maximize each and every person in our roster on both sides of football.
17 years, going into your 17th year, more things change, more things stay the same. This year you're going to have a little different look on the sideline. You got a couple of new coaches. How is that going to kind of play a role with this young group?
Well, I think the biggest change that we've had is the teaching and the communication has gotten really good through the course of the summer practice and the scrimmages. I think guys have really done a great job of, coaching their positions, and myself and Coach Harrison have done a great job of, relaying the information, communicating what needed to get done, and then, trying to maximize those guys through the course of their practice schedules and the off-season workouts. And so just allowing the guys to do their jobs, and what each guy, brings to the table. And then, my job as a coach is to distribute the information, and their job is to get it to the players. And so for me firsthand, number one, I don't feel like I have to do it all. I got guys that can relay the message. And our biggest thing, Tony, has just really been trying to connect with our players, connect and commit. My time's not really spent a lot on scheme and things. It's really trying to connect and get what these guys can do, what they like, what they don't like, where they're comfortable, where we're overloading them in some ways, and just trying to get off to a little bit better start. But the coaches have done great. 4 of them are former players, so they know the scheme, they know the things that have caused us problems in the past. They know the things that have really worked well for us, and so every year it's a new group. It's a new identity, and then just I think one thing you're going to see different, from our football team right out of the gate is, we're asking guys to do more on both sides of the ball. A lot of times earlier in my career, we had guys just play O&D. We feel like now, we've got a strong group of guys that can help us on both sides of the ball in certain areas that can give us some big lifts.
All right, previewing last question before we go into the Science Hill. Looking at this season, going into this season, give us a couple of names of some players that are going to be just step out of the comfort zone that the average person may not know going in.
Well, I mean, it all starts with our seniors, Tony. I mean, we're not going to be a really good football team without the seniors. We got a lot of seniors. Everybody's involved when you're a senior. From the leadership to the way you practice, the way you prepare. Just guys that are going to stand out that way. We missed a lot of people last year. When we started the season, we had a couple guys that were out of the roster. We missed some guys towards the end of the season, but just right off the bat, the guys that we have returning on defense. Mason Ball, Zeth Mullins, Caleb Holzer. We returned everybody on our defensive line but one player. Eli Guest, Landon Hughes, Ben Adams. Those are guys right there that played pivotal moments in our season. I mean, you look from our season from halfway from the Anderson County game to the finish. You're talking about 8 games there, where we had some guys that played some big time moments. We obviously know that the 3 teams that we played at the beginning of the year. But just the amount of practice time, the amount of film preparation, the amount of game experience. I mean, those are names right off the bat from a defensive standpoint. It all starts in the trenches. You're not going to win the 4A league. You're not going to win the 6A battles if you don't have the trenches. Those are guys on the defense there. But just what those guys bring, the tenacity of like Mason Ball, the toughness of Zeth Mullins, the grit of Caleb Holzer. Caleb Holzer is an inside linebacker last year, 165 pounds. Ben Adams is an undersized defensive end that has a relentless pursuit of excellence there. That really does a great job on the other side there. And then I really feel like Eli Guest and Landon Hughes have really grown as inside tackles. They really kind of got beat up a little bit last year to say sometimes, but I really think they've grown and matured and are really going to be tough to stop there. And then, obviously coming back this year on the offensive line, Josh Hayes starts his 3rd year at left guard. Our 2 tackles are over 300 pounds, and Seth Campbell and Corey Green. And then I really feel like, a couple of unsung hero guys is, a guy like Kyron Smalls at the guard position. He's an undersized guard that, really does a great job, but plays with a lot of heart and a lot of sense of urgency.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do us for this first segment. When we come back after these words, we'll preview tonight's big contest as we travel over to Kermit Tipton Stadium to take on the Science Hill Deer property. We'll be back after these words. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Coach Shawn Witten Show. Coach, week 1, Stacy alluded to Science Hill. Tell our listeners what this Science Hill team looks like on the field, what we're going to expect. Is it going to be the running gun that it used to be when Stacy first come over there, or is it going to be more like it was last year, more ball control?
Well, I think Science Hill is definitely involved, but it all starts what they can do with their offensive line. Is they got 3 guys returning on the offensive line. Quarterback's back after playing 13 football games from a year ago. Just the experience. Last year they didn't ask him to do a whole lot. They had some good running backs, but I really feel like he's got 2 really good outside weapons that really can stretch the ball and stretch the field vertically. They're about as fast. They're track guys that can really go the distance. And so I'm not sure that they have the running backs that they've had in the past, but definitely the ability by Shorts to be able to run the ball, to extend plays. High school football, that's the easiest way to win. People don't realize that. Just the ability to have a running quarterback, a dual threat quarterback. I mean, it's just tough to stop. You can have everything, schematically answered, and then he can make you miss and make plays. So just really everything starts with them. Just they're going to run the football. They're going to try to be physical. They're going to try to box us out from our defensive end standpoint. Really try to gut us there. Really try to stretch the field vertically, and they can do that because they got some good weapons.
Now let's flip sides to the offensive side of the ball. We got some green quarterbacks, for lack of a better term, sophomore. Both quarterbacks are sophomores. What do you do as a coach to game plan to take and calm them down, first and foremost, to calm them down and to give us a chance to pull out the victory?
Well, I think number one, we got to allow those guys to be themselves. We've got 2 guys that both bring something different to the table there, but I think we got to let them kind of play. And the good thing is we got a great supporting cast around them. The quarterback's only as good as his weapons he has. He's only good as his offensive line. But I think that's where the difference comes in right now, Tony, is We feel that we've got multiple tight ends, we got multiple H-backs, we got multiple receivers that can make plays, and we also got 3 running backs. And so really for us, for this game, is, one, we don't want to ask them to do a lot, and 2, just make good decisions. Just command the offense, keep things simple, reminding them that, plays don't win football games, players do. And so we've just done a really good job of trying to connect with the players, try to get these guys in position where they understand, the things that are important to win, the style of football we want to play. And then we know, Tony, as we go through the season, we're going to really grow in a lot of different areas. With our schedule being kind of spread out, we just need guys to really step up for us for this game number 1.
Last thing before I turn to Stacy. Last year we started out, we had a rough start, finished strong, probably one of the top 3, maybe 4 teams in 4A football. This group was part of that. What lesson do you think they're going to take, Mason and Josh and some of these seniors, Eli and Holzer and all them, what are the lessons are they going to take from that and turn around and implement it into this year?
Well, I think, football is a mental game. I think, mentally they understand the importance of what it's going to take. You win through shared experiences. We don't dwell a lot of times on the past, but just the things that beat us last year. I mean, I think our maturity has grown. I think, our discipline's grown. I think, just focus on the things that matter the most. And I think, for us is we've got really good players. We focused on getting these guys bigger, faster, and stronger, and keeping it simple and let these guys go do their thing. And so really proud of how far we've come in a short period of time. It's been a pleasure working with these guys at this point. I think the biggest thing too is when you handle adversity, we just got to do a great job of not letting it, allow our emotions kind of dictate our play. We just got to keep playing and allow things to kind of help us out. But a year ago, we just kind of ran out of gas for a lot of games. We just didn't have enough in the tank to finish, and we didn't have a lot of depth. I mean, we feel right now that we're as strong as we've ever been, and we got a really good team. But 2017 and 18. Greenville had a lot of seniors, 19, 20, and 21. We had a strong group of seniors. A year ago, Anderson County had 23. Those guys are right there. So I really think with 19 guys, just the whole approach to things just been different. Just asking the guys to come to work and what we've tried to do to get to this point has been pretty remarkable. So I'm excited for this season. There's been a lot of change. But I think that's been good. I think there's been a lot of, assistant coaches have done a great job in communication, and our scrimmages have been really good. And so we just got to carry it over to the field for week 1, and I think our performance will be where it needs to be.
Let me go back to something. You kind of touched on it just a little bit, but when you look at Science Hill this year, the scrimmages and so forth, a lot of their team, especially the skill position, they look like track guys with football pads on. How are you going to address that speed tonight on offense and on defense?
Well, we've done a great job through the course of summer practice with our versatility on defense. Number 1 is we know at times we got to give the corners help, and how much can we give them help, and how much does that soften us up on the inside. We've done a great job of trying to, with our personnel, a lot of times you try to sub to get personnel groups in there. So what we've tried to do is take our number 1 defense and how can we get in as many looks as possible to try to cause confusion with offensive linemen. That's kind of where the game's kind of evolved and kind of adapt is, 1 minute a certain player's here, the next minute he's here, and make them have to identify certain players on our team. The ability for defensive ends to play as linebackers, and then defensive tackles to slot to defensive ends, and then the ability for have outside linebackers that can move inside and outside. Just the things that we've been able to bring to those is you got to help those corners out times. Man to man's not really been our thing since I've been here, but just there's times when those corners are going to be an island. They got to step up and make plays, and we know we got to help those guys out through the course of the game.
And I think we're going to see the old Greenville offense in maroon and gold. You're going to see some trips, and you're going to see the bubbles to try to get those guys out in the open. Is that what you?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to need a tight end in the game to kind of stop our our pass rush and the things we can do from our defensive end standpoint, is going to try to help them there. They've got, two really good receivers that, a lot of times sometimes they can put them on separate ends of the field, and a lot of times they like them together. And then, they've got, a new running back that's transferred from Crockett that's going to be their starting running back. That's kind of more of an outside runner, and they've done some things that we've seen in jamborees and things of some up tempo. They're really going fast when they make some big plays. It's faster tempo than what we're normally could go against. So we started, on that on Monday, really trying to get a couple plays that really show the tempo. The biggest thing is you got to stop the big plays. We can't allow, some big plays. And I think, at times, we know that Schwartz is going to sprint out, and we got to, get hands to his face. We got to hit him a couple times and, see what we can do. But we feel like we're as deep as we've ever been on defense. We feel like right now that we've got about 17 players that can play on defense, that kind of spot play at particular times. We feel like if they get in some run formations, we've got some big corners that can really help set the edge and kind of counter off of that. And I really think there's two guys at the linebacker positions. Zeth Mullen's versatility there. Zeth was an all-state player at the end of the year from a run-pass standpoint. And then Caleb Holzer really done a great job of just, he understands the middle of the field, the ability to move him inside and outside from a 4-man front, 3-man front. It really helps us out a tremendous amount. So I really think from what they've seen us on film, they know we're really active at the defensive end position. And so we just got to, create some turnovers and do a really good job there.
This will bring a smile to Doug's face over there when he hears me ask this. But one thing you can't really see during the scrimmages, the way they're set up, and the thing you don't have a lot of tape on are special teams. And one of my concerns is those speed guys are going to be the ones back on punts and kickoffs. Talk a little bit about that. How are you going to try to address that to keep, big plays can come on offense, defense, but as a disciple of Frank Beamer, special teams can play a big game. How do you stop those big run backs on punts and kickoffs?
Well, we've worked special teams quite a bit, from day one, and then, also a firm believer, you got to put starters on special teams, really make those emphasis. I think, Greenville really does that probably as good as anybody, making sure guys are, two-way, sometimes three-way players. So we've asked some guys really step up in those areas. We feel that we're as dynamic as anybody in some special teams areas. When we've won these games in the past, it's because we've been flawless in special teams. The field position game, not to keep going back to last year, but last year we missed the opening field goal, and then we had a pump block, and then we turned the ball over inside our own 30-yard line. So they had, that's just 3 hiccups right there, that really gave them good field position. But, we feel like, Caleb's done a really good job of punting. We feel like we feel like we've changed our punt protection to give him time to get the ball down there. We do feel like we've got stronger defensive linemen and linebackers that we can put on special teams to really help us out in those areas. Our snappers are back, our holders are back. We do got a really consistent freshman kicker that we feel can be really consistent on some PAT field goals if we need to go there as well. But just the ability to win those special teams is going to be as big as any. And we feel like we have the upper hand in those areas because we've emphasized it, and then the amount of starters we're going to have on those special teams.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The preview for tonight's big contest as the 2023 season begins with the Cyclones, as it always does, against an arch rival, the Science Hill Hilltoppers. Tony and I will have your call of the game when we come back. From these words from our sponsors, we'll preview the game and tonight's kickoff at 7 p.m. at Kermit Denton Stadium between the Science Hill Hilltoppers and your Elizabethan Cyclones.